The day my sister stole my identity wasn't the day I lost everything. It was the day I began my comeback. My name is Evelyn Blake. I'm 34 years old, a data analyst by trade, and up until last summer, I lived a quiet life in a small town outside of Boston. Nothing extraordinary. But I had peace. I had control. And I had no idea that the person I trusted most, my own sister, was about to burn my entire world down. Her name is Sienna. Growing up, people thought we were twins. We weren't. But we were close enough in age and looks that we could swap clothes, ID cards, and secrets like it was a game. Only it wasn't a game for Sienna. It was training. Sienna had always been wild, the kind of person who made chaos look charming. I was the quieter one. The one who followed rules, got straight A's, planned everything down to the minute. But our parents, especially my mom, favored Sienna. She needs more love, Mom would say. You're strong, Evelyn. She's just misunderstood. I believed that. For years, I gave and gave. When Sienna totaled her car, I co-signed her next one. When she needed a place to crash after another breakup, I gave her my guest room. And when she asked to borrow my credit card for one weekend getaway, I said yes. That was mistake number one. It started small, a weird charge on my bank app, $249 from a boutique spa in Miami. I texted Sienna. Hey, did you use my card again? Sienna, oops. Just for the massage. I'll send it back tomorrow. Don't be mad, red heart. I wasn't mad. Yet. 2 weeks later, I got a call from my bank's fraud department. Someone had tried to open a car loan in my name. I froze. They read out the information, my social, my address, my employer, but not my voice. It wasn't me. It was her. That night, I checked my mailbox and found a credit card I never applied for, maxed out to $7,000. My hands shook. I called Sienna, expecting panic. Apologies. What I got instead was silence. Then, you've always had it easy, Evelyn. You're the smart one. The boring one. You don't need it like I do. My world blurred. I wanted to scream. Cry. Smash something. But I didn't. I hung up. And I made a plan. You see, Sienna thought I'd fall apart. She didn't know that being underestimated is my greatest advantage. I began documenting everything, charges, applications, calls. I filed reports, froze my credit, and notified the FTC. But I didn't stop there. Sienna hadn't just stolen my money. She'd stolen my face, my name, my entire identity. She'd opened accounts using my photo. She was posing as me on social media. She even messaged one of my exes, pretending we were getting back together. I felt like a ghost in my own life. But ghosts? They see everything. I hired a private investigator. I wanted to know where she was staying, who she was talking to, and most importantly, what she was planning next. That's when I found out about the grant. Sienna, pretending to be me, had applied for a $50,000 Women in Tech Small Business Grant. A grant I actually qualified for. She was shortlisted. And the final interview was in person at a gala event in New York City. So, I bought a dress. The night of the gala, I walked into the venue with my head high and my invitation in hand, as myself. Sienna was already inside, talking to the panel of judges. Wearing a knockoff version of my style. Smiling like she belonged. She didn't see me. Not yet. But when she did, her face turned to ice. And that was just the beginning. Studio microphone, she thought she'd stolen everything from me, my name, my face, my future. But what she didn't know was that I had just taken the stage. Pushpin. They say revenge is a dish best served cold. But I served mine under a chandelier, with a microphone in hand, and the whole room watching. The ballroom buzzed with champagne laughter and the soft clinking of glassware. The panelists, 3 entrepreneurs and 2 angel investors, were interviewing final candidates for the $50,000 Women in Tech Innovation Grant. My name was on the list. So was hers. Well, technically, just mine. Sienna, in my name, stood near the refreshments table, nervously glancing toward the panel. Her dress looked expensive. Her heels were too high. And her confidence? Completely fake. Because just 5 minutes ago, I'd submitted my original application packet to the event organizer, along with notarized ID documents and police reports about the identity theft case. A case they now had on file. I waited for the panel to call her name, my name. Next up, Evelyn Blake. Sienna walked forward, flashing her most innocent smile. I stayed behind the curtain. The lead panelist stood. We're so impressed with your proposal on inclusive fintech platforms. Your experience at Velocity Analytics is impressive. We just have a few questions before we finalize our decision. Sienna blinked. Velocity? She had no idea where I worked. She smiled tightly and nodded. Of course. The first question came fast. Tell us about the data integration challenges you overcame in your last role. Sienna froze. She glanced at her phone, which was shaking in her hand. And then the second panelist asked something worse. Could you explain what you meant by the dual-node encryption strategy in your grant application? That's when I walked on stage. Everyone turned as I stepped beside her. I took the microphone from the moderator's hand and faced the room. Good evening. My name is Evelyn Blake. I'm the real author of the application you've just read. The woman next to me, my sister, Sienna Blake, stole my identity and impersonated me to gain access to this grant. Gasps echoed through the room. A few phones lifted, already recording. Sienna looked like she'd swallowed glass. One panelist asked cautiously, "Do you have proof?" "I do." I handed them the folder I'd brought, complete with bank records, IP logs, legal filings, and a signed affidavit from my investigator. Another panelist murmured, "This is substantial." Sienna tried to speak, but her voice cracked. I didn't mean to. I thought I could. You thought you could be me, I said, cutting her off. But pretending to be me isn't as easy as it looks. Security escorted Sienna out of the venue. She didn't scream. She didn't fight. She just stared at me with a mix of hate and regret I'll never forget. After she left, the event paused. I thought I'd be asked to leave too. Instead, the panel asked if I was still willing to interview. I smiled. I've been ready for months. I walked out of that room not only cleared of her mess, but with an official police report filed and a public video going viral. Within 24 hours, the video of me exposing Sienna had over 2 million views on TikTok and Instagram. Comments flooded in. The calm revenge is chef's kiss. She really said Sparkle's identity theft is not a joke, Sparkles. This is main character energy. I went from silent victim to viral icon overnight. But my revenge? It wasn't over yet. Sienna didn't just face public humiliation. She was also under federal investigation for mail fraud, identity theft, and credit card abuse. Turns out, she'd racked up $73,000 in my name. What she hadn't realized was that I had filed a civil suit in parallel to the criminal one. I wasn't just getting justice. I was getting paid. She was banned from opening new credit cards, forced into financial counseling, and ordered to pay restitution in monthly installments for the next 7 years. But that wasn't even the best part. The fintech startup I pitched during the gala? One of the angel investors offered to fund me personally. Studio microphone, I like your resilience, she said. Anyone can write a grant. But it takes a different kind of power to reclaim your name. 3 months later, Sienna showed up at my office unannounced, wearing sunglasses, clutching a cheap purse, and looking like she hadn't slept in days. I need help, she said, voice trembling. Please, Evie. I've got nowhere else to go. Studio microphone, I thought she took everything from me. But now, standing in front of me, she didn't look like a thief. She looked like a broken shell of the sister I used to love. There she was, Sienna. My sister. The girl who stole my name, my money, my future. And now, she was at my door, asking for help. I stood frozen. 3 months had passed since the gala, since I exposed her to the world. Since she'd been kicked out of my life, and her crimes had begun catching up. She looked different. Pale, thinner, her eyes dark with sleeplessness. She wore the same designer jacket she'd flaunted months ago, now dirty at the sleeves. Her voice cracked. They cut me off, Evie. I've got no credit, no place to live. No one believes me anymore. I didn't move. Did I pity her? A little. Did I trust her? Not at all. I leaned against my office door frame. Why are you really here, Sienna? Because you're the only one who still knows I'm not completely evil. I raised an eyebrow. You faked my signature, stole $73,000, and tried to become me. That's not just a sisterly prank. She winced. I know, and I know I don't deserve forgiveness. I could have closed the door. I should have. But something made me pause. Maybe it was the ghost of our childhood. Two girls braiding each other's hair, whispering secrets in the dark, watching Mom cry in silence after Dad left. I exhaled slowly. You have 5 minutes. Say what you came to say. Sienna stepped inside, quietly, like a shadow trying not to wake a house. I've been clean for a month, she said. No pills. No scams. No lies. She handed me a crumpled sheet, a certificate from a women's rehabilitation center. She joined a support program for women who'd committed white-collar crimes. I'm trying to get hired somewhere. Anywhere. But no one will touch me because of the case and the TikTok videos. I'm not asking for money. Just. Her eyes filled. A character reference. A second chance. I looked at the girl who destroyed my credit score, my peace of mind, and nearly my future. But I also remembered the night she found me crying in my dorm room after a breakup. I remembered her sitting outside Dad's funeral, silent, because she couldn't bring herself to cry in public. I remembered who she was, before she lost herself in needing to be seen, to be someone. I sat across from her. Why did you do it? I asked. She lowered her eyes. Because I didn't think I'd ever be anything if I wasn't you. That hit me like a punch. She hadn't just envied me. She had erased herself. For years, I'd been chasing perfection, thinking I was alone, not realizing my sister was chasing my shadow, too. She wasn't a villain. She was a mirror. You know I can't just pretend nothing happened, I said. I don't want you to, she replied. I just want to earn a life I don't have to lie for. I thought for a long moment. Then, slowly, I nodded. I'll write the reference. But if you ever lie again, even once, we're done. She nodded fast, tearfully. I swear. This is the lowest I'll ever fall. A week later, I got a letter. Sienna had landed a job at a nonprofit startup helping women with criminal records rebuild their lives. I'd sent in the reference anonymously. She didn't know it was me. But in her first paycheck envelope, I later found a note slipped under my door. Thank you. For believing I could be someone worth saving. I didn't just reclaim my identity. I reclaimed my story. I built my fintech company. The one she tried to pitch as hers. It now had over 40,000 users in 3 countries. My story, the real one, was featured on a podcast about digital security and women's resilience. The host asked me, if you could go back, would you have done anything differently? And I said, I would have believed in myself sooner. That's the only thing she stole that I let her keep for too long.